Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Greater Awareness Within with your host, Mr. Brian Powers of Healing Life Studios in the lovely town of Laguna Niguel, California. Brian is an intuitive healer. He's also a relationships and life counselor. Brian, how you doing today?
Doing great, Michael. Thank you.
Hey, last time we had a great conversation about manifesting happiness. We'll call that part one. This is part two of how to manifest happiness. Are you ready to rock and roll this one?
Let's do it.
We are all ready to start manifesting happiness. Let's first, we got to check with Joel over here. Joel?
What's the happiness level
Are you ready to manifest some happiness?
That's a great big smile.
You look at it, he's smiling.
Hey, that's a happy guy.
I am happy.
I am happy. Very well. Very
Cool.
well. Good job, man. He's getting it.
Yeah, he's totally getting it. Okay, so Brian, help me manifest some happiness. I'm going to be as happy as Joel sitting over there.
Well, ultimately, right, is kind of getting the sense that what you put out is what you're going to get back. I mean, we can talk a little bit about, getting what you receiving what you get as far as a form of energy. So when you're in a bad mood or you're out there and you're sharing your bad mood, then you're going to have more people duplicate that response in your energy, either that or try to avoid you altogether. But you'll attract people that have a similar energy, a similar vibration that tends to probably make life not so great, is to not only when you're feeling that way, but then to be surrounded by other people that are feeling that way. And manifesting happiness, like we talked about before, a lot to do with that is recognizing that we manifest whatever experience we're having at the time that we're having it. And the less spiritually connected, okay, let's just use it in that, it's just more of an awareness level. It's not that they're less than or anything like that. How much have they been exposed to spiritually? How much training have they done? What's their willingness to find out about how they are? How some people aren't there yet. Mm-hmm. Some people are on that path, and some people have been on that path for quite some time. So ultimately, blaming others or having that the responsibility scale from always blaming other people. Well, if he didn't do that, it wouldn't have been my fault. And you kind of can pick that up like in children, and their first response a lot of times they learn it, but it gets stuck in there as a workable workaround to most relationships or most situations is that it's always the other guy.
Oh, of course.
My sister, my brother,
yes.
My friend, or the dog, or anything else. It's always somebody else.
The dog. I'm going with the dog.
And the interesting thing is about that when the problem is caused by somebody else, the experience is caused by somebody else, the emotion is caused by somebody else. It stays fixed because ultimately we can't fix or change others. The only thing that we can fix or change is ourselves. And so when we assign blame and assign responsibility to other people, especially for the way we feel or the way we're thinking, we're giving up not only our power, but our complete understanding of how to fix it. It becomes a trap. And as people are on their self-awareness program and their higher awareness program, the ones that are more spiritually connected are 100% accountable. And then we talked a little bit about that. I mean, being able to be 100% accountable for what you see, hear, say, do, feel, because ultimately everything that happens in your life happens between your eyes and your brain, in your body, in your mind. That's where the cognition comes in. That's where the experience is. So everything is you're creating it yourself. And if you can acknowledge, it takes a lot. It's not, and expect people to just automatically go from blaming everybody else to being total cause in their own life and responsible for everything. But understanding that dichotomy exists, and to the degree in which you're not always blaming other people where it's not you, to where you have your own level of responsibility and understanding of how you invited that in or how you manifested that on your own, somewhere in there is where most people are. And that understanding is sort of like, that's going to get you through to the next level. So the more that we know how we are is going to be the way that we can find a better reality, a better existence, finding happiness, manifesting happiness. So the first thing we talked about the last time was stop creating the unhappiness. Stop talking about how unhappy you are and how you don't want this and you don't want that, and staying out of those points of view, and start talking about, I'm doing good, but I'd like to be doing better. I'm feeling better, and you can, using the words feeling better means you're acknowledging a little bit that I'm not on my A game, or I'm not at the top of my feeling, I'm not at the happiest, but that's in a time when you're maybe not feeling so great, or when you say, oh, I feel a little sick today, or I'm not feeling so hot, or I don't have any real motivation today. You can just say, I'm feeling better. I'm looking up. Thanks for asking. Because now I'm looking at what that does is that literally opens up your reality to start feeling better, to start manifesting that experience in which that we just talked about. So partly it's a mindset and working around the predisposition to look at the negative side of things. And I'm talking about always be positive and that. And you have to be reality. You have to, one of the things that we hadn't talked about was experiencing the experience that you're having. So if you're feeling sad, or you're feeling, and you can't quite kick it, let's just say maybe say you've been in a relationship with somebody, and it's broken off, and you just don't want to think about it because it's painful, or you just can't stop it. The person that just constantly just dwelling on it, and potentially crying, maybe not crying, but just feeling down and low. Ultimately, it's becoming automatic. It just automatically happens for them. And you say, well, how can I possibly feel better when it's just automatically I'm feeling horrible? And it's a fair question to ask. But the ultimate thing about it is that understanding when you're in a trap. And it's not easy to understand a trap, because that's what a trap does. It gets you in a trap, and you're stuck in the trap, and you're going through the experiences, and you don't realize you're in a trap. So how would you know you're in a trap if you're stuck and trapped in a trap? Well, one of the things that you can do is understand that the only thing that you can stop is something you're doing on purpose.
Like if I keep thinking negative thoughts, I'm doing that on purpose.
Maybe not. But understand that you have the power to think thoughts of your own choosing. So, in this case, to stay on track with this particular one that this situation that I've talked about with the person who's having a loss.
Right.
All right. And they're automatically feeling sad. And the basically is that when it's happening automatically, you don't have much chance to do something about it. So a workaround in that particular case is going to be do it on purpose. What does that mean? Well, if you're resisting it, we talked a little bit about getting what you resist in the last episode. If you're resisting the feeling, you're manifesting the feeling. You're thinking about the feeling you don't want to have, saying, I don't want that feeling. That's what that spirit's going to get, and that's what's going to create. So the idea is that, okay, but now I can't put in a fresh, fancy feeling in there. I can't change my medicine. I'm thinking of love when I'm thinking, oh, I'm so much pain. I can't think love. I can't do it. You know what I mean? And they're upset. Okay, but it's automatically happening. So then have the feeling. Truly have the feeling without resistance. It's okay to feel how you feel. Obviously, you need to do it in an appropriate surrounding. If you're on the middle of the freeway, don't do what I'm respecting. Okay, pull over to the side of the road, find yourself a safe spot, and these are processes that you wouldn't do while you're operating machinery or vehicles or with other people in a lot of cases. In this case, if you can do it on purpose, And what do you mean by that? Well, you get out the record and you say, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right. If I'm going to feel crummy, I'm going to feel crummy. And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to feel every sense and feeling through all my fingers, my toes, every part of my body. And I'm going to put on, my saddest record, the record, our record, the one that used to be just us, and my teacher told this story using, I think, Harry Belafonte or something, some singer or something like that from earlier, before my time. But it was, please release me, let me go. And the idea behind the song was, just drum up that experience of loss. It's just you feel like crap, and you keep doing it and cry and cry, and you just keep making it. You keep doing it on purpose, and keep singing the song and doing it and feeling bad and and really get into feeling bad. It's okay, because that's how you feel. And the sooner that you stop resisting how you really are and how you really feel, then again, doing this in a safe place, in a place where you're not going to be judged by others. And that's a whole nother conversation.
That's the next episode.
Yeah, but the idea is that you're creating yourself, and then there's some point when you actually do this process, you start to run out of tears. You start to run out of being able to cry, and it's almost difficult to make yourself feel sad. You just start to automatically go, okay, I'm done. And there'll be a point where you come to where I'm done. For now. It may come up again later and again later. Mm-hmm. Then you have the experience. And stop resisting. Stop having that experience of don't want that, can't have that, because that will make it stay permanently. But as soon as you can be the creator and take ownership of it, take a bow for it, and yeah, it hurts, the relationship circumstances and those, but they make us who we are in the long run. They give us tools to understand of how to treat other people. It's so important to understand this. So creating happiness can be literally done by being real with how you feel, and having the feelings when you're having them. And then ultimately, again, now that you've worked through that and you've found that I feel better. How you feeling today? I feel better. I feel good. I'm feeling great. And you start really working from that point of view. When you can say it out loud, say it to another person, what's wrong with feeling great? Nothing. That's exactly what you've been striving for. I want to feel happy. I want to be content. And the idea is that you are. You are as you say you are. And for me, most days, the other thing is keeping agreements with yourself and being accountable and being responsible and doing things that you can feel good about yourself. And those are key components in having a happy experience or happy interactions with other people. And for me, when I wake up, I don't dilly-dally around. I swing over, put my feet on the floor, stand up, get on with my day, start my routine, whatever the thing, particular type of day, and do the things that make you accountable, that make you accountable to yourself, right? And you can feel good about who I am, who you are, because you're not just sitting around being that lump of coal, I feel bad, or whatever's going on in your life. Yeah, that stuff happens, and that's going to affect how you are. But eventually, you start working through those things, and you start becoming, again, happy with who you are. And again, maybe the next go around in a relationship, finding opportunity, you'll be at a better point of view and choose wisely in that arena, and maybe don't go down the same route that you went down before. And again, that's a whole nother picking the right personality to spend your time with.
So I have some questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so what I'm gathering is that if I'm feeling sad, if I'm feeling bad or whatever, it's okay to feel that way, just to kind of work through the process. But one of the things you don't do is you don't say, I am sad, because you're manifesting a negative and you're making yourself sadder.
Well, we're okay. So you're partially correct because of the way I probably explained it. When you're just sort of ho-hum, okay, you don't have a particular trauma in restimulation, because we talked about two kind of went from one area to another area. Mm-hmm. So let's say you're just having the day where you just, I kind of have a little tickle in my throat. I don't feel so good. And you say, I don't feel so good. I got a tickle in my throat, and I don't know what's going on today. Okay, versus I'm feeling better. I got this little tickle in my throat where I'm hoping we'll work that out through the rest of the day. But yeah, feeling good. How are you? Okay, so that
I'm sad.
Yeah, and that's okay. So how much time have you been sitting there trying not to be sad?
I just I can't stop being sad. So let me give you a real world situation.
Well, this is my point. I wanted to differentiate the two. You can tell me the story, but differentiating the two. Okay, so when you're some kind of ho-humness or something like that, then you want to recognize that, I have an opportunity here. My opportunity is to pick something that's going to bring me to the place I'd like to be, or it's going to bring me to the place I don't like to be. Now, when you're in the doldrum and you're in the and the poor me, and you're into the I'm the victim and I'm feeling bad, and that's, again, a pretty normal human experience from time to time, then it's a different story. So now you have to recognize how you are. How I am today is I'm not feeling good today. Okay? You recognize that. But why am I not feeling good? I'd like to feel good. I want to feel good, but I don't feel good today. Okay? So then I'm stuck. Means I want to feel good, but I don't. So what do I do when I'm not feeling good? Well, some of the things are, activities would be to do the things that keep you on purpose so that you have respect for yourself and that you have appreciation for yourself, that you do the things that you're supposed to do. Don't lay around in bed. Get up, go to work, do the things, your routine, do your routines, even if you didn't have something to do. And you do the things that you would have done had you not been feeling so crummy in the first place. Okay, then you start to respect yourself a little bit. Like, okay, it's not going to take over my whole life, but I still feel horrible, and I just feel okay. That means I'm in a trap. That it doesn't mean you're always going to recognize that, but know that if you want to feel good and you don't, you're probably in a trap. And then that's when you bring on the understanding that, okay, I'm in a trap. Then I need to feel the way I feel, and I need to feel it to its fullest. And I need to feel that way until there's no more. I can't not feel this way. I'm just going to feel this way 100%, and I'm going to give it my all because I'm going to do the best that I possibly can, and literally do that. And that's what'll bring you out of it. But that's the difference between the two nuances: when you're trapped, or when you're just in between. Kind of like your normal habitual response. Your habitual response ought to be, I feel great. I'm ready to go.
I feel great. I had a friend call me a couple of weeks ago. We should have talked a couple of weeks ago. So I've known this guy a long time, and he was like just distraught. Okay, and he was so sad, and because he broke up with his girlfriend, and it was not a pleasant experience. So he's calling me. He just needs somebody to talk to. And one of the questions he asked me, he says, "Why can't I stop thinking about this? Why can't I stop feeling this way? I don't know what else to do. Even when I'm asleep, I think about this. I wake up. I don't want to think about this anymore. I want to have a semblance of a normal life, but everything reminds me of her. And why doesn't she understand what I was really saying? And Mom, and I go, we had a nice talk, but what can I do to stop this? So what can he do to stop that?
Yeah, well, see, that's a perfect example of really he's having this experience. So there's two things. Whenever there's a loss, and you have a loss, typically there's a loss of time and space. So to fill that time and space, the mind works overtime to fill that time and space. So, of course, the mind is going to work on remembering times with the person. In his case, let's just talk about it in him. So remembering the times with her, and why didn't she really understand what I really meant? And when we were together, we were really great, and all these great things happened, and these great experiences. And now I'm alone, and I'm not with her, and that space is there. And so you start to feel these sensations and these feelings of loss. And the loss is a big item amongst all of us humans, and it is characteristically a big area of how we're centered to take over our emotional well-being from time to time. But remember, when he started talking to you, how do I stop this? Is his question. How do I make it not go like this? And I don't want to feel like this. Well, what's he doing?
He's manifesting a negative.
He's resisting.
Oh, he's resisting. He's manifesting what he's resisting.
Yeah, he's resisting what it is that he's feeling.
Okay.
All right. So in this particular case, you can say to him, well, it seems to me that in general that I was told once, you can tell us, I was told once by a very smart fellow who was told by a very smart fellow that we get what we resist. Do you think yet you're resisting the way you're feeling? Would be a question. What? Are you resisting the way that you're feeling, or are you actually having the feelings?
Oh, that's a good one.
Right? But you have to be careful. It depends if the person's on a psychotic level.
I don't think he was psychotic.
I know, but what I'm saying is that you have to be aware of using these conversations, because if you're not properly equipped, you could start a forest fire with the person. But in this particular case, I think it would be safe to ask him a question. How about, since you're telling me that you don't know what to do and you can't not do this, what about not resisting it and doing it to the best degree that you possibly can? What? You can't do it. You can't stop it because you're not creating it. What? Well, if it's happening automatically, isn't it just your feelings running wild and they're just going and going and going? Well, yeah. You're asking me how to stop this, how to change this? Well, yeah. Okay, well, I'm telling you how to stop and how to change this. So how about doing it on purpose? What do you mean? Have the feeling. You're having the feeling already, right? So why resist it? It's a sad thing. It's a messed up thing when you get a loss like that. And so the first thing to do is have the feeling that you're having. Quit resisting it. Pull over to the side of the road. Get yourself in a safe spot and do it. Put on the "Please release me, let me go." Your favorite sad music, and get into the sadness of it all, and have the feeling without resisting. And get in a way where you're not going to be judged by other people, and people are going to look at you like, "What are you, crazy?" Because ultimately, what you're doing is you're doing it. You're going to do it on purpose, and if it just eventually is going to start to feel not right, to keep doing it, and you'll eventually stop. But another key element in that is just remembering that you're having a loss. You're in a loss. You're a loss of a viewpoint. You're a loss of the sensation of the other person, the energy that they created, and the energy that you reacted to when you're in their presence, when you heard their voice. And so filling that void with another activity doesn't have to be the same activity, but filling that void with other sensation, other energy. Go to the movies. Go out with some friends. Pick up a sport. Do some running, jogging. I mean, remember when I was younger, that was a great way to move through emotional trauma, things like that, was to run, or do something, that is something that you're going to do on purpose, but it also fills your time, and it does take your energy. So that's what I would do.
I think that's good advice.
Sure.
I think, Brian, you've really dispensed a lot of great words of wisdom today. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my friend listens to this podcast, because everything that you said today pretty much applies to him, and hopefully he'll be able to actualize the potential of everything that you said and apply it into his life. Before we go, I do want to mention just a couple of things, that you do have a studio here in Laguna Niguel. If somebody wants to schedule an appointment with you for some type of relationship, life counselor, or perhaps an intuitive healer, how's the best way to get a hold of you? Or if they have questions, do you have a phone number that they can call?
Absolutely. The number to call is 949-310-6115. And you can also reach us on the web at healinglifestudios.com. And you can email us. All the information will be there on the website.
Cool. Okay. healinglifestudios.com. And you can call Brian direct at 949-310-6115. Brian, thank you so much. I've learned a lot today. Joel, did you learn a lot today too?
Yes, I did.
Listen, if we can impress Joel, we can impress anybody.
Hey, as long as we keep a smile on that guy's face, he's the happiest guy in the world. He'll keep everybody in the whole room happy.
Cool. Hey, we'll see you guys next time with another exciting edition of How You Can Discover the Greater Awareness Within with Brian Powers. Thanks a lot.
It's within you, Michael.
It's within me. I'm feeling it, dude.
It's there. Good.
Okay.
We just got to wake it up.
Catch you guys later. Thanks. Bye.